The story of the humble sandwich began in the year 1762 in a town unironically named Sandwich. This was the home of an Englishman named John Montagu, the son of Edward Montagu, the third Earl of Sandwich. Historians claim that John Montagu is the man who gave the sandwich its modern-day name. The tale goes that John instructed his servants to bring him a succulent slices of meat nestled between two perfectly toasted slices of bread. The following quote originates from the individual who witnessed and subsequently documented the story of the fourth Earl of Sandwich in his book, The French Encyclopedia and Reason Dictionary of Sciences, Arts and Crafts. A minister of state passed 24 hours at a public gaming table, so absorbed in play that, during the whole time, he had no subsistence but a bit of beef between two slices of toasted bread, which he ate without ever quitting the game. This new dish grew highly in vogue. During my residence in London, it was called by the name of the minister who invented it, Pierre-Jean Grosley, 1718 to 1785, French historian, contributor to the French Encyclopedia and Reason Dictionary of Sciences, Arts and Crafts. Throughout the history of the sandwich, the question permeated in everyone's mind was, what is the greatest sandwich? Join us as we consult an expert and explore the city for our ingredients to make the greatest sandwich.
My name is Mike Hudzinski. I work here at Kappa's Deli. I have been in the business for 25 years, roughly, 26 years. What makes Kappa's special is I think there is somewhat of a lack of the bodega, deli style establishment that kind of makes other cities famous for that kind of thing. So they're unique in that sense of that this kind of family deli doesn't exist anymore. Quick sandwiches, breakfast, sliced meats. It's really basic stuff, but like as time has gone on, we've kind of lost that in our neighborhoods. Kappa's history. As I know it, it's been around since '67. A deli a little bit shorter than that. I don't know when they opened that up. It has changed ownership a few times. The store is pretty much what it's been since I remember it, from the late 90s, early 2000s. A little bit of changes here and there, but the deli is pretty much the same. Grocery store is pretty much the same. Old family business running back 50 years. What does food mean to me? That's a tough question. I don't think I entered this business in any sort of like grand ideal of like food makes people happy and stuff. It just the process of the kitchen just really made sense to me. It's one of those things that like it's just, your brain you're just doing something and it clicks, it makes sense, and the community was huge. You know, everyone was artists, everyone was travelers. We just all clicked in that way, and we just were happening to be doing food. It just worked out that way. What makes sandwiches special? It's just like the simplicity of it, I think. You know, you can kind of do whatever you want with them. whatever you feel at that moment. They're super quick. Yeah, it's just one of those basic life things. Everyone needs a sandwich. The basic elements of a sandwich, I think like Earl had it right, it's bread and meat, you can roll the dice on pretty much any other, type of bread, type of meat, and I think you're gonna come out just fine. The Earl sandwich. I mean, it's a staple. Like, we sell something like that here. I think everywhere you go, you can get some sort of corned beef on rye. Yeah, why mess with it, if if it's not broken?
Did you know the record for the world's largest sandwich was set in 2014 in Mexico? It measured a staggering 3,178 feet and 1.6 inches long, containing ingredients such as ham, cheese, and lettuce.
A sandwich that can be eaten every day without burnout, I think would be the ubiquitous bacon, egg, and cheese. Wherever you can get one, they can never be disappointing. The simplest version of bacon, egg, and cheese would be bagel, crispy bacon, egg, and cheddar cheese. First, we want to start with the foundation of the bacon, egg, and cheese, which is the bagel. Hen's Deli in Walker's Point makes great fresh bagels.
What we feel makes our restaurant special to other places in the area is that it's owner operated. Everybody who works here is in the family or owners. We make a simple menu as to order as possible. It's all handmade. We stand out from a lot of the restaurant scene in the Walker's Point. So there's a lot of bar and small plates and more PM stuff. And the history of Walker's Point is some industrial, very working class stuff. So it changes who's down here for how much residential, how much office business. But in a nutshell, I think we fill a niche for, 9 to 5, lunch, just simple, getting breakfast and bakery and something to eat for the people at work or the growing residential population here in Walker's Point. The most popular and or personal favorites on the menu, that's very interesting because statistically that really does come and go. Like sometimes, the heavy hitters are the Italian sub, gets ordered most often, but then our pork pastrami with Swiss cheese and pickled red onions on a brioche, sometimes that runs really, really hot. And we can sell out of any given menu item, but the popular item just really waxes and wanes, and it's cool to see. I think that represents that people are repeat customers and trying other things, so they come back and they don't. A lot of times you get your favorite thing at a place, and I think that the sporadic nature of what the popular and favorite menu items are, tells me that people are coming back and trying everything we do. If I had to choose, I'd say the bagel lox and cream cheese is definitely the one I put the most effort into, and that I like to eat the most. It's very satisfying. The aesthetic of our shop here has a very collector, thrift shop, home, this eccentric vibe. The vision for when we were going to have a house like this has changed over the years. In the oldest version of this idea, it was going to be just a full-on old school butcher shop, and this is where the old collectible thing starts, because we bought a scale from the 1910s, years before we were in any danger of having a store to put it in. As for all the board games and knickknacks and collectibles and things like that, they definitely serve a hangout in here. And we have board games that people don't use. They're more of an invitation. We're not concerned that you play Othello or checkers in here, but it sends a message for us that this is a welcome hangout kind of thing. And with a small place, it gives out sort of a carry-out vibe, and we have some seating in here, so we don't want it to look like this is just a call-in kind of thing. So we think that sort of the knickknacks and the board games and all that kind of thing invites dining and also punctuates and highlights the fact that we are an owner-operated place, and that you're not going to see 3 versions of this put up with the same interior like that. That's really the focus of that aesthetic. I would definitely recommend for a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich a classic flavor, and that would encompass, for bagels, your plain or your seeded with poppy seeds or sesame seeds, or everyone's favorite is the everything. We make our own everything spice, which not uniquely, but a little special, includes caraway seeds, and a classic everything has dehydrated onion and garlic, some salt and some coarse pepper, and poppy and sesame seeds. And we'd like to make sure to use black and white sesame seeds, which is just a color flourish, but it just kind of drives home the homemade, the artisan thing, I think, a little bit.
A great bagel, I think, is, somewhat toasted. It's hard to get really light bagels, but if you have like a small, nice light crumb in there, it gets a little cakey. I think you're in business if you have one of those.
Did you know that bagels have gone to space? In 2008, Gregory Chomutov, an astronaut aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery, brought along a stash of sesame seed bagels for his 15-day mission to the International Space Station. The bagels were specially packaged to prevent crumbs from floating around in the microgravity environment. This marked the first time bagels were enjoyed in space.
The next ingredient is the bacon. Groppy's Market in Bayview has a fantastic deli. It's where they sell the bacon.
Groppy's has been in business over 100 years. The part of the building that we're sitting in now dates back to 1913. The Groppy's are an Italian family that moved to Milwaukee and started the grocery store here. They operated as a family-run business for a pretty long time until about 20 years ago when the Nearings purchased it from them as they were trying to retire and they were aging out of the grocery business. Just recently, my brother and I purchased it from the Nearings to kind of continue on that family legacy. Tom Groppy still comes in fairly regularly and get a chance to chat with him. So there's a lot of community, a lot of the regulars, and then sometimes we do get people from out of town that heard about us from somewhere, or that like every time they come to Milwaukee, they come to get our Italian sausage. Tom is a really pleasant person to chat with. He'll chat about stories about the store and the family history around here. One of the things that was important for my brother and I when we purchased the store was to be able to continue to use the Groppy's name. And so before the purchase, we sat down with him and his daughter and had a good discussion about what we want to do here to continue on with making sure that they're proud of the fact that the Groppy's name continues to stay as the name of the store. My brother and I are kind of sticklers for making sure that when people come in, they leave happy. That kind of comes first before the profits, before things like that. So we want fresh, quality product. We've got different things besides the grocery items in here, right? We've got the wine bar, which includes a wine club, and we get people that gather monthly for that. We do beer tastings and cheese tastings, and outside we've got a patio area. So as the weather warms up, we'll be doing some grilling out there. We'll have a little bit of live music, some little events like that. We sell almost any kind of meat products here. There are sausages that we make in-house. There's a number of different roasts and stuff that we'll cut for people. We'll do specialty cuts for people if they order them. We do have a seafood selection as well, but you can find just about any type of meat here at Groppy's. We do have ready-to-eat food here at Groppy's, including paninis that we make in-house, as well as hot deli and cold deli items that are made in our kitchen. Our bacon is Newski's bacon. So we do use bacon in quite a few things. We'll do like a bacon cheddar brat sometimes. So, bacon will sometimes be included right in the sausages, but there are different cuts of meat too that might be wrapped in bacon. Some of the hot case and cold case deli items definitely have bacon included. The paninis, a few of them also utilize bacon.
Why bacon on a bacon, egg, and cheese? I would have to assume it's because of the salt and the crunch to it. It's just always been in the sandwich, so like you just never kind of questioned that, I guess. Just stuck with it for all these years. It just works.
Did you know Elvis Presley famously loved a sandwich called the Fool's Gold Loaf, which consisted of a hollowed-out loaf of Italian bread filled with an entire jar of peanut butter, a jar of grape jelly, and a pound of bacon. Another version of this sandwich adds the king's favorite fruity craving, sliced bananas, and is commonly referred to as an Elvis sandwich.
Next is the egg. If you can get a fresh market egg, it's great, but any sort of grocery store egg is perfect. How should the egg be cooked? Again, that's really personal taste. I always go with like an over easy. I know most places will do like over medium. It's a little, I think, more palatable for some people. I really like loose yolks. I think that is, kind of the sauce that you need on, any egg sandwich. So I would always go with a lighter cook, over easy, very yolky, very runny. That's my preference. The texture you want to avoid with eggs, I think, is overcooking when it gets really spongy. It dries everything out, I think, really, really quickly.
Did you know the modern ice cream sandwich with a layer of ice cream sandwiched between two cookies was invented in 1899 by an unknown pushcart vendor in the Bowery neighborhood in New York City? It was originally sold for just 1 cent. That's about 36 cents today.
Lastly is the cheese to glue it all together. I think you want something that melts really well. The easiest thing to do is probably American or cheddar. You might be looking for a little bit of like tartness, especially with cheddar. That really kind of offsets a lot of the salt. So cheddar's always good, American's always good. Something that melts really well is always the best. Village Cheese in Wauwatosa has an awesome selection of cheeses.
So we are a cut-to-order cheese shop. We focus on artisan cheeses from Wisconsin, the US, and Europe. And along with that, we have charcuterie, cured meats, specialty items, crackers, jams, things like that, a full wine selection. And then we offer other things like cheese boards and meat boards and catering trays and gift boxes and classes and online. So we kind of do everything related to cheese. Vidmer is, like so many of our wonderful cheesemakers in Wisconsin, Joe is third-generation cheesemaker, Swiss immigrants, and that's kind of a very interesting part of our Wisconsin cheese history. It's European immigrants here, and we see that that tradition has continued. Joe's son is taking over now, so it's into the 4th generation. They just had their 100-year anniversary. I think there used to be more, but thankfully we have many of them still that we can enjoy, sell their products. Definitely a wonderful cheese, a cheddar producer, wonderful cheddar producer. He's really known for his brick as well, traditional brick cheese, which is something that was created here. And there's a younger version and there's a more traditional aged version, and he's known for that as well. So he has a lot of tradition, and he really adapts to now. They have some flavored cheeses and really has found his place with keeping tradition and moving forward. So just everything from Vidmer is going to be a wonderful cheese. It's our selection, really, that makes us a bit different, focusing on cheeses from all over. And also cut to order. It's really important to us to have a freshness factor to the cheese. We cut it for you, take it home, you enjoy it. And that's a very different concept, I think, than many other places you can get cheese in Milwaukee. So the Village Cheese Shop is really styled after kind of an old world, let's say European style store, where it is community based and we know our customers and we talk to our customers. We want to engage them when they're in the store here, sample cheeses, talk about cheeses, a place where we get to know their tastes and they can come back. A place that really is, a little local store that fits comfortably in the community, but also welcomes everybody from elsewhere. So the name really speaks to where we are in the village of Wauwatosa. I wanted my business to be here in the middle of all these other businesses here. There's quite a European feel here. And there's no doubt that I wanted it here for that reason. So the concept behind the shop really is to have a cheese shop where you visit regularly, and then you go to the bakery down the street, and then you go to the wine shop and really kind of make all your stops at all different locations in the village. So I really wanted to have it be very clear that we are in the village and we are a community store. So really kind of have this as the name of the shop too. So people talk about supporting small businesses, and plenty of people do, but I think that it has to be bigger and more. And I don't just mean restaurants, which is great. I mean shops like mine. I just came back from Europe. There's 100 times of me in a community like this, and it's very much something that is part of life there, and part of happiness there, and part of quality there, and community there, and many things. So I think anything that really talks about small businesses, particularly small food businesses, and supports them is really, really great.
Did you know? In 2013, an iconic sandwich chain known for its customizable submarine-style sandwiches faced controversy when customers discovered that their foot-long sandwiches were not always a foot long. This led to a class action lawsuit, and the chain ultimately agreed to settle the case by instituting measures to ensure their sandwiches met the advertised length.
What my favorite sandwich is, it really depends on the day.
Probably my favorite sandwich. Are we counting burgers on this?
Oh, I would say yes. I mean, it's got bread and it's got meat and it's got usually cheese and vegetables. Yeah, I mean, it might be the ultimate classic sandwich in a way, right?
It's a hamburger sandwich. It's round and yeah, it's same kind of category of meat and bread, but yeah, the hamburger, it's kind of its own thing too.
In my opinion, a hamburger is a sandwich because the only requirement is academic bread with something in the middle of it.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
When I think of a sandwich, I think of shape as well. And a hot dog is, a different shape. So I see your point. I would say no.
A hot dog is a sandwich. I think that anything on a bun qualifies as a sandwich.
I feel like I've heard a lot of the arguments like, is a hot dog a sandwich? I mean, a hot dog is its own thing, but yeah, I mean, if you put it in the category of meat with bread, simply, I guess that's sandwich-esque.
My favorite sandwich is going to be a burger. If we're excluding burgers from the mix, I enjoy like a grilled ham and cheese.
If I had to eat one sandwich every day, I can always eat a classic cold-cut Italian sandwich, preferably with a spicy salami on it, like the hot calabrese.
If you want something spicy, go with like an Italian giardiniera. I'm always gonna go some version of the egg sandwich.
I love very simple ingredients and quality ingredients, so a very tasty bread with a quality sea salt butter, if you will, thinly sliced mortadella, and maybe a thin slice of an Alpine cheese. I could eat that for breakfast, and I can eat that for dinner as well.
The steps of making a bacon, egg, and cheese. You want to toast bagels. Cooking bacon is always like a personal preference thing. People want them crispy, leave a lot of that fat in there. Eggs are always pretty easy to do, especially like if you're doing like over mediums, just kind of like be patient with it and cheese it up at the last minute. and kind of make a tower out of it.
Did you know the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich has become a beloved breakfast staple in many parts of the world? Surprisingly, it wasn't until the 1970s that this iconic combination gained popularity in the United States. Fast food chains and diners played a significant role in popularizing the bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, making it a convenient and tasty breakfast option for millions.
And that is the greatest sandwich.
Always looking up, never looking down, always on